Alright, boys. We've got to make sure we get through this, okay?
2,000 years later.
What the hell is that? What the hell? Remember the first time jumping into the realm of horror? Perhaps it was a movie, a book, or maybe even a game. The world of horror video games has come a long way with it being a defining part of pop culture. Like, Jesus, if you just go outside, the first thing you're going to see is little Timmy with his Freddy Fazbear plushie singing. But I have noticed something over the recent years, and that is that horror games just aren't scary anymore. And it made me think, were horror games ever scary? So I asked the question, what the hell happened to horror games? Now, before we start, I would like to say that someone who doesn't really get scared by horror games, that's me, there is one game I actually found scary over the years, but I'll tell you a little bit more about that game later. Let's see what's around the... Oh, hell nah, backing away from this, nah. Alright, backing up, through the door we go. Well, this really does need a look into the past, and a wee little blazing phoenix started his horror game journey out with this. Real hard. Oh. Yes, this Flash game that if you have not seen before, you're probably too young to be on this channel. Go now, just leave, you're probably going to hear some bad words. It is the legendary Scary Maze game that had kids shitting their pants from the early 2010s or before, I don't fucking know. And it's not the shitty looking one on Steam. Now, this game brought me into the horror genre, and I can't get that face of that stupid girl out of my dreams. Now, there was definitely horror games before this one. We had games like Resident Evil, Silent Hill, and these games are really fun, but they never really scared me. Around. That's because you play modern games and you need graphics to be scared. Nah. Alright then, let's have a look at some more modern games. Alright, we're almost done. We've got the final page, we've got to get through this now. We're going to get through, he's getting closer. He's getting closer, no, God. Now, this new generation, I would say, started the whole trend of horror games being popular, and it all really started with this game called Slenderman. Now, there wasn't too much to the game. Really, all you had to do was find paper and don't die. But this type of horror was exploding. This created a whole new wave of horror games. Games coming left, right, and center, and having some big hitters like Outlast come out, being marketed as the scariest game of all time when it was first released. And for people like me and yourself who love horror games, we were just filled with everything we could ever want. But I still look back and think to myself that I really was never scared. Like, yes, the occasional jump scare would, but I was never actually scared. Oh no. Freddy, go away. I am so close to getting this exam. You just go away right now. Freddy, I think I liked it when you were back. Please come back. Please keep singing your song. It's dark now, please. Now, after this, something happened. One of the most profitable and marketable horror games released, and that was the game you all know, and I don't know if you love it or not, Five Nights at Freddy's. And this started a trend of games where things were cute but scary. Like, that was the whole point. Like, let me explain. Look at a game like Spooky's Jump Scare Mansion. Most of the jump scares look like this. Oh, you're fucking back. Get away, you dirty hoe. This is not scary, but funny. And Five Nights at Freddy's really started these animatronics that get scary once they get closer to you. This was also one of the first mainstream horror games where you did not run from the scares came to you. And that just added another layer of fear, not being able to escape what was your so-called impending doom. These were great games, but did they ruin the horror franchise? Oi, come back here. Don't you dare click off this video. Let me explain. Thank you. All right, we gotta keep going through, keep getting through all these corridors. We're almost done for all the ventilation system. Just keep running, keep running, keep running. What is that? What is that? Not scary at all, Fluffy boy. After the success of Five Nights at Freddy's, it created this whole new child-friendly horror scene with lots of bright lights and colourful characters, like Poppy Playtime.
Why don't you go give it a hug?
Yeah, fuck it, huggy! This just doesn't make me scared. And on a side note, isn't it weird that for a horror game, I can find a plushie in my local Kmart? Like, I'm just saying, it's supposed to be scary. Now, there are plenty of other games like this. Just look at Baldi's Basics. This game was everywhere in its prime, and it's all these bright, goofy colours with a cheap jump scare at the end. And I'm really still not scared by any of this. So why is that? Well, these more modern horror games are all based off one thing, and that is cheap jump scares. And if you can tell when this is going to happen, it takes the whole scare out of the game, and there is nothing for it to fall back on. Now, this doesn't mean that jump scares are bad, quite the contrary. Wow, that's a fancy word for someone like me to use. Now, they are cheap, but if used correctly, they are great, but they are overused in modern games. Now, that one game that scared me, I want to get to it, but there's one thing I want to get covered first. Something that I have noticed of recent is the popularity of multiplayer horror games. So I dragged my friends in the horror games, and because they are scared, they call me a shit friend. But I'm not as shit as a friend as you to Smith Plays. Yeah. And these types of games are so much fun to play because they are goofy as fuck. Look at Phasmophobia, for example. Not scary at all, but it is so much fun. There are also the story-based horror games, like the Dark Picture anthologies, which have an amazing story when you get to experience that with a friend. But not the Quarry, your multiplayer can get fucked. Now, for me at least, it's hard for these games to get scary, because I'm too busy laughing at my friends as they shit themselves from the ghost right over there.
She's a ghost and a bitch!
So that leaves a question of, should we be excited for new horror games coming out? Well, the answer to that question is, I don't know. There is the Joy Creation that is coming out, and that looks fun, but I'm not sure if it's actually going to be scary or not, but I have hope. Now, the thing that you've all been waiting for, a game that I actually find terrifying, well, that game is Layers of Fear. Oi, oi, oi. Don't fucking boo me, let me explain. This game does a great job of using psychological horror with everything changing and not being the same. And you can never tell when an actual jump scare is going to happen. And you can even avoid certain jump scares throughout the game. But the whole time I was playing this game, I had no idea if something scary was going to happen. And it had me on the edge of my seat the whole time. And I swear I almost looked like your girlfriend standing on the edge of the table when a rat enters the room when I played this game. It was pathetic. Now, I haven't played the second game yet, and
that's because he's a little bitch and doesn't.
Hey, the fuck you think you are, Zach? I'm not scared, you little shit. Come here, you little fucker. I'm not scared. Now, there is one thing that I haven't put in this video intentionally, as I want to talk about this in the next video, and it's a pretty important part to horror games in general. So stay tuned for that. Now, it wouldn't be a video on horror games without a fucking got you. Well, I hope I did at least, like, you know, maybe it scared you. Well, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you drop a like and smash that subscribe button and leave a comment telling us what you think about horror games. Am I wrong? Is it actually scary? I know nothing. You can type that all down in the comments if you like, and I can't wait to see you all in the next one.